Okay.
We're live. What are you doing?
All right. Me?
Yeah,
cheers.
We're live. Cheers.
Hi, everyone.
Cheers. Hi, everyone. Let's make sure this is working. Can someone tell me if this is? Oh, yeah, great. Okay, we got someone from Guatemala. Hi, Rodrigo Carrera. I can't roll my R as well. Let me just see. Is this? Oh, wow, that's so cool. All right, awesome. So Anya,
just FYI, I think the silver core video is up.
It's up, yes. I kind of wanted to do that on purpose, but I could. Okay. You know what? Let's wait for that. No, let's wait. Let's just do this for now. Put it in our back pocket. Yeah, we'll put in back pocket. I'm not this much bigger than Anya, by the way. This is a question of camera
of perception.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
definitely. How are you, Katie?
Welcome.
It's good to see
I'm
you.
I'm good. You? Cheers.
Cheers. As great as one can be.
In the quarantine. Yeah. So I should introduce you. Then we'll get into what you're drinking and all that. Anya Parampil is a journalist with the Gray Zone, and she has reported from all around the world. Well, not all around the world, a lot of countries, a lot of controversial countries. And she also, what I want to talk about with her, especially, is this really great kind of investigation that she did into what's happening in Venezuela. And she even spoke to the amazing Jordan Goudreau, loved, celebrated Jordan Goudreau, admired, brave, who's responsible for what is being dubbed the stupid Bay of Pigs.
Or the Bay of Piglets.
Bay of Piglets. Oh, I get it. So it's one or the other. Is that the deal?
I just always like to mention the Bay of Piglets because I think it's funny.
Right, but it's like, so the two disses are, it's either the Bay of Piglets because that's like inferior, or it's the stupid Bay of full-grown pigs.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. I just wanted to make sure that I was like correct about the nomenclature. So tell us about. Oh, I'm just saving out of this thing with another interview I did with the Gray Zoner. I love this live thing. It really adds a real element of suspense, right? Okay, so why don't you start telling us? Improv, indeed, yeah. Can you start telling us about who this guy is? Or we could actually just start with the video. I'm torn because what do you think? Should we start with the video?
The video is so good.
It kind of, why don't you give a little setup and then we'll watch the video and then it'll really land. Yeah.
I'll just introduce this character, Jordan Goudreau, who we're about to see a promotional video, which was put together for his company, Silver Core USA, a private, now we consider it a private military contractor. But I believe when this video was made, it was based on the original business plan, which was to do active school shooter training in U.S. schools, in U.S. public schools all around the country with former Green Berets, soldiers who'd served in Iraq and Afghanistan coming back. Jordan Goudreau, his original business plan was to employ these individuals as a former Green Beret himself in U.S. schools to train teachers and students how to respond to active shooters. And now we know of him because he was behind this failed Bay of Piglets operation in Venezuela, the most recent attempt we've learned of regarding U.S. attempts to overthrow the Venezuelan government. We can get more into the details of that plan later, but just to give you an idea of Jordan, here's his promotional video for Silver Core USA.
Right. And without any further ado, and make sure you know that we're going to talk to Anya about her interview with him, which is pretty exciting. I'm just setting this up so we watch this video. Okay, here we go.
Stronger, smarter.
There he is.
Wait, where's the video? Did he change it up? He had oh, wait. Okay. Wait a second. This is terrible. He used to have another video.
Well, you just had it pulled up, so I'm sure you can find it.
The world world is dangerous.
I mean,
Some problems can't be solved with conversation. From school shootings
Stay on this side! Stay on this side!
to travel terrorism to natural disasters, we manage risk. Anywhere, anytime, any situation.
risk management.
Silver Core USA.
I'm a little upset because the first time I saw that video, it had no audio. It just had like him lip syncing
Jordan.
with music under it. I know. So Matt Taibbi and I call him OK Jordan because OK Jordan is the term that we use for Canadian men with masculinity issues, because of course that includes Jordan Goudreau and Jordan. Who's the other Canadian Jordan? I can't remember his name. Jordan Peterson. Peterson. Yeah, exactly. But there was another video which was really cool because it just like it made no sense because you saw him talking, but there was music under it. It was very disconcerting. Like you didn't.
And
hear
you
him
really
say
wanted
anything.
to know what he had to say.
I did, and I'm telling you, there was a dog. His dog was in it.
Yes, his dog.
Oh wait! Oh my God! There was more. Wait, there are more videos. Hold on. Let's see what this one is.
It
By
might
the
be
way,
the first
You know how
one.
they don't put your muzzle into the dirt?
Yeah.
It's a lie.
Okay, and again, I just wanted people are just tuning in. I'm talking to the Gray Zone journalist Anya Parampil, and we are talking about a very interesting man named Jordan Goudreau, and who provides security to schools, events like Richard Branson concerts, and now we know failed Venezuelan coups. And we're going to get into that more. But we just wanted to give you guys a cinematic flavor of his work, of his oeuvre. So here's another video that he posted.
What is he shooting at?
The enemy. Unclear.
There's nobody there, Jordan.
He's practicing. Jordan Guy. What's Jordan Guy?
An
Is that
alias,
like his nickname?
I guess, his alter ego.
Yeah. So tell us about how you managed to have a nice conversation, a chat with Jordan.
My conversation with Jordan was much, much shorter than I wanted it to be.
I know.
Unfortunately. But people first heard of Jordan Goudreau on May 1st, which was when the Associated Press published an article talking about this plot to kidnap the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. And the article clearly was crafted in order to make Jordan Goudreau look like a lone wolf, some crazy ex-Green Beret who had gotten involved with the Venezuelan opposition and then on his own accord decided to launch this invasion of Venezuela with a couple dozen, maybe 300 Venezuelan military defectors and 2 U.S. Green Berets, Luke Denman and Aaron Berry, who are now in Venezuelan custody. But the AP ran this story, made a big point to say that the U.S. government had no involvement, no knowledge or awareness of the plan, but that this private military contractor had been hired by Juan Guaido, the Venezuelan opposition figure whom the United States recognized as president of Venezuela last year. Juan Guaido, according to the Associated Press, had hired Jordan to carry out this operation to kidnap Maduro. And a lot of people, my friends, myself, we all read it. when it came out on that Friday, and we were like, this is weird. There were so many odd elements in the story, but it was also just very telling that they went out of their way to repeatedly say, well, but the United States government had no knowledge of this whatsoever.
Right. Like, I'm not racist, but...
I know. It's like, the lady don't protest too much.
Exactly.
But, and I can get into why there are more specific reasons to question the U.S. awareness and knowledge of this operation, but Jordan Goudreau, he slammed in the Associated Press. When that article was published, he actually refused to comment on the alleged existence of that contract and the operation. But then within 2 days, now we're talking about May 3rd, which was a Sunday, Venezuela announced that it had killed 8 mercenaries who were trying to invade the country via speedboat. And that same day, Jordan Goudreau emerges, does an interview with Venezuelan opposition media in Miami, actually, and says, yeah, those were my guys who were killed today. That is the operation. And in fact, the operation is still underway. But he said, I made the decision to come forward and acknowledge the existence of this plan and tell the truth about what happened because I've been betrayed. I've been stabbed in the back. He said by the Venezuelan opposition figures, meaning Juan Guaido and his allies in the United States, it became very obvious that at the very least, they hadn't held up their end of the bargain in terms of payment. Because Jordan Goudreau actually that night, May 3rd, produced a contract, which was released online, parts of a contract, which had Juan Guaido's signature on it. And it was a $212 million contract to carry out this operation. And it had Juan Guaido's signature on it. And then Goudreau also released audio. It's video, but it's really just a recording of the ceiling because it was mostly just documenting and recording the audio of what Jordan Goudreau says was the moment he and Juan Guaido signed this contract. You can hear Juan Guaido jump online and speak in very rehearsed English, thanking Jordan Goudreau for his efforts. And then they agreed to sign this contract, which was done in October of last year, in October of 2019. According to the contract, that's when it was signed. And then Jordan says, this operation is underway currently. That's the same day that he actually tweeted at President Trump saying, Silver Corps strike force incursion underway in Venezuela, like including 2 U.S. Green Berets. And so he's now acknowledged the existence of the plot. And the next day, Venezuela arrests dozens more of these mercenaries coming in from Colombia who were part of this plot, initially revealed in the Associated Press and then confirmed by Jordan on Sunday. And among the dozens of people who were arrested that Monday, May 4th, were 2 U.S. citizens, 2 U.S. Green Berets. And that was the day that I got a hold of Jordan. I went on his website, fished for his number, and then called him up, and he answered. And at that point, I had 2 major questions for him. First, I wanted to know why he felt betrayed, because I felt as though he didn't really get to explain what it exactly was that happened between him and the Venezuelan opposition. And I've spent much of the last year and a half reporting on the Venezuelan opposition, all these characters, Ricardo Hausman, Carlos Vecchio, individuals representing Guaido in the United States. And I know them to be we're allowed to swear here, right?
Yeah, very much. Encouraged, actually.
Assholes, completely corrupt and just malicious individuals. And so I wanted to hear, well, Jordan, right, what did they do to you? And then I also had the names of a few U.S. officials who I believed had to have had prior knowledge regarding this operation. I believe it went all the way up to at least Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. At least there's evidence the Venezuelan government has presented that President Trump had knowledge of this operation. But I was particularly interested in U.S. officials who I know are working in Colombia who would have been involved in this kind of operation. And I wanted to run those names by Jordan. But obviously that day was very difficult for him. 2 of his friends and the rest of his troops essentially had been captured in Venezuela. And so he told me he was in damage control, but that he really did want to talk to me and that he wanted to do it the next day. And I believe him because of the way he was speaking to the media outlets the day before, and because of the fact that he spoke to Bloomberg the day that he spoke to me. I believe at that point, regardless of his prior positions concerning the Venezuelan government or the opposition, by that point, he was so fed up and so pissed off that he knew that in order to cover his ass, he needed to tell everybody the truth. And unfortunately, since that day, as far as I'm aware, no journalist has been able to reach Jordan Goudreau. And several people I know of from around the world have tried to reach him from the BBC, from Fox News, and crickets.
The gray zone. I mean, that really is that's the real
standard, obviously.
The standard. If he doesn't respond to the gray zone, there's no way BBC.
But come on, this Trump-loving crazy guy didn't want to respond to Fox News.
Fox? I know, right? And he calls himself a patriot. He is Canadian. We have to be somewhat suspicious. He is Canadian, so I don't know how much of a patriot you can be in general when you're Canadian. I actually wanted to, let me see if we can play some of your interview, if that's okay. Unless it's going to make you really bashful.
No, not bashful. Cool. There's just not, he doesn't say much to me.
I know it's short.
But you can hear at least.
Well, what I like about it is watching you. You make you really do such a good job of trying to get him to open up. It's like actually kind of cute. It's like you're really trying to bond over how much
and like, look, man,
hate the opposition. I know, it's really funny. Okay, let's see if I can let me see how to do the share screen thing. This is a really cool program, by the way. It is called it's called StreamYard, and I really recommend it, and maybe they can become a sponsor of the Katie Halper show. And by the way, just a reminder that you're listening to the Katie Halper show, and my guest is the wonderful Anya Parampil, and you can find her. Someone just said Silver Corpse, indeed. You can find her on Twitter. You can find her at the Gray Zone, but you can also find her on Twitter under her very easy to spell. The first name is Anya, and then Parampil, Parampil. It is phonetic. You're right. It is. Yeah.
And there's no other Anya Parampil.
Right, there isn't. Like you're in the top 5 Anya Parampils that I know out there. You're one of my faves. So let's watch you talking to OK Jordan, as we call him.
Oh,
let's see. Can you guys hear it? Can you guys hear that? What I was.
I could. Yeah, I could.
Okay, great. All right. Here's Anya, and I want to make sure that you guys can see this. Okay, great. All right, I love this program. Okay, let's go.
Complaints against Venezuela's opposition, and thought he might benefit from a friendly hearing. So on Monday, I gave him a call. Here's our short exchange.
Hello? Hi, is this Jordan Goudreau?
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? My name is Anya Parampil. I'm an independent journalist based in Washington, D.C. I'm sure you've been getting a lot of calls from reporters.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just tell you a little bit about myself, since I'm not trying to catch you or trick you or anything.
So honest.
If you look me up, you'll see all of my reporting. I spent much of the last year focused on Venezuela. I spent about 2 months in Venezuela, and I've reported extensively on kind of the way that the opposition and some of its figures act.
I feel like we should analyze this almost like as a dating thing, Anya. It's like how to get the guy to open up. Okay, so I can do that as a fellow woman. As a fellow woman, I can definitely say this, right? If I were due to be problematic, I'd be infantilizing. But as someone who respects your work, I just think it's really funny to view this through
come on. Basic Freud 101.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let's watch the moves.
Usually pretty backstabbing, and and unorganized, which has been supported by the story which has come out regarding you recently.
Right.
And so I just thought maybe if you'd want to talk to me and give me more of your side of the story, I would be really interested in hearing it, because I saw today, for example, that there were 8 more arrests in Venezuela, and 2 of the people arrested were actually Americans. And you referenced,
They're my guys.
yeah, do you know their names or who they were?
Yeah, I mean, it's already been put out so much. I would definitely talk to you tomorrow if you have time, because I'm kind of in the middle of containing this crisis. But I can give you more of an in-depth, background and history and whatnot.
Yeah, no, I'd really appreciate that. And I think I noticed in the interview you did yesterday, you were trying to kind of give more details about the way you felt backstabbed and betrayed by some of the people involved.
Oh, absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
felt like you didn't really get to talk about any of that.
So I just want to point a couple things out so far. So Anya, you're doing a really good job. You're like creating a rapport, some shared values, right? Some empathy. You totally feel where he's coming from. You want to
I feel like I did.
No, you did, yeah.
But I really am saying I really honestly did. I almost did, honestly, even though people wouldn't expect to hear this. I almost did feel bad for him at that point.
I mean, that's the effect of Jordan Goudreau's Silver Core training. He disarms you, literally disarms you and figuratively. Yeah. But I mean, it is true that it's funny how, like, when you have a shared enemy, this guy is not someone like, he's a private security dude who started out trying to, he wanted to basically be the, like, Matt Taibbi and I have talked about this a couple of times, but he basically wanted to be like the 21 Jump Street guy. He and his partner wanted to go undercover as just regular shop teachers or whatever teachers and actually be armed to prevent shootings. Yeah. But I get this, like, I understand this. I've been there. Like, there are times, not dating wise. I've never actually, like, I've never tried to date a security. I know, exactly. But I've been in the whole, like, common ground from political bedfellow, politics mixed with strange bedfellows. But it is funny that I could have, and I was like kind of on, I don't want to be a spoiler alert, but he doesn't open up that much. He kind of plays you. He says he'll call you back later, or he says you should call him back later.
He ghosted me.
He ghosted. Okay, Jordan. Okay, ghoster. But he didn't. I understood that there could have been this potential for you guys to both really talk smack about your shared.
I think he wanted to.
Right. I think he did too. I don't know. He was too, I don't know what it was. Maybe you came on too strong. Maybe you didn't come on strongly enough.
I have a theory.
Okay.
I have a theory.
Well, you want to share that, or should we keep watching the end?
We can,
but I don't. It's not that much more, right?
No.
Oh, but we should just watch how he, now that we know he ghosts you, it's going to be that much more like filled with, it's going to be a pregnant exchange.
Yeah, I'll definitely call you. I think I'll talk tomorrow.
Okay. Is there a good time for you?
Just call me any during the day. I'll be away doing work, I'm sure.
Okay, so you're very accommodating.
But I think he sounded genuinely open to having a conversation.
Him whenever you ask him when you can call him back. He plays, he pretends to be open and then he just disappears. Yeah. But it seems like you've gotten over that. You're not too crushed. Were you like checking your phone all day? Were you checking your texts?
Of course I was. Yeah, absolutely.
Were you doing that thing where, I hate this thing where you're really waiting to hear from someone, and every time, it's totally unfair, but every time that you hear from someone who's not them, you're like actually resent that person?
Yeah, you're like, I don't even want to respond to this.
Yeah, exactly. Like if it's not Jordan,
fuck you. Care. Yeah, no, exactly. So yeah, the next day, I mean that night I'm such a loser, but I was like, oh, this is Christmas. I couldn't even really sleep. And then, so I woke up and I was like, I have to call Jordan. Called and it rang and it rang and it rang and it rang. Didn't answer. And then I actually did that thing that you do when you're dating. I like talked to some of my friends and I was like, how long should I wait before I call him again?
Exactly.
I was like, should I just text him and say like, hey, Jordan, we talked yesterday. or should I call him again in like 30 minutes, or should I do it again in an hour?
Right. Does he like being when women are more direct? Does he like it when they're more demure? You never know, right?
And so I went with like the call a few more times, and then he never answered me. But then that day, we were able to dig up the phone number of his business partner.
Yeah.
Jordan is the CEO of Silvercore, and then we found the phone number for his COO, Chief Operating Officer, Drew White. And I got a hold of him, and I talked to him for like 20 minutes. You probably don't want to play much of that on the live stream. It's up to you, but the gist of it is just that he hadn't really been in contact with Jordan for a while. But he told me that when Jordan had contacted him about this plan in Venezuela, that Jordan claimed to have a State Department contract. He said Jordan came to me, again, keep in mind, as we said at the beginning, their original business plan was to do active school shooter training in the United States. But based on what Drew White, Jordan's business partner, told me, is that what ended up happening at a certain point was Jordan was spending so much time in Central and South America doing these security contracting deals, basically providing security for concerts and events such as that. And through this, he ended up getting this other contract to do a kidnapping operation of a foreign state.
One thing led to another.
One thing led to another, and then they were like, look, man, sorry, we originally just wanted to be like helping out the kids at Sandy Hook, but now we're trying to kidnap the president of Venezuela.
Right.
Big developments in the last few months.
Yeah. There's a line. Some would say there's a line between those two things. Yeah.
Well, his business partner said, so Jordan comes to him and says, I have this State Department contract to go kidnap the president of a foreign country. At that point, Drew, the business partner, he was working in Colorado Springs, which is very far away from Florida, where Jordan was working. But at that point, he was really south of the border, Central America, South America, doing these private contracts. And so his friend and his business partner, Drew, was like, well, I have to see like valid proof that this is a State Department contract. And he said that what Jordan provided didn't feel legit enough for him to go along. And that basically he said that whenever Jordan or anybody else in Silvercore spoke with him about this agreement again, he tried to tell them that it was crazy and it was a little bit far-fetched and that they should probably not do it. And he told me that he'd wished and he'd hoped that his friends wouldn't do it. But then they did. And so Jordan, at that point, I was still hopeful that maybe he would surface again and speak with me. And when I spoke to Drew, he said that he hadn't spoken with Jordan for quite a while, but that he really wanted to know that he was okay. And I started thinking, yeah, Jordan is actually kind of in deep shit right now. Even
not just because he didn't call you back, for other reasons. In addition
I know.
To those,
yeah, I mean, now he's exposed as running this failed invasion and kidnapping operation in a foreign country. He's someone who could be, even at that point, I was thinking, even if the United States government, which I do believe had knowledge of the operation, even if they didn't have knowledge, they would be investigating this individual now. And even if they did have knowledge of it, they'd probably want to cover their ass by diming or selling him out. And so that's when I said to Drew, I was like, yeah, he's probably at risk of being arrested, all these things. I really wanted to know if anybody had heard from Jordan. And I cannot confirm, based on any media or any of the other contacts in media that I have, that Jordan has spoken with anybody since that time that we spoke on May 4th. Because he went dark. And then 2 days later, the Associated Press published a report saying that the United States government was investigating him for arms trafficking, for all of the all the things that you would imagine someone doing this would get investigated for. And I'm pretty sure that that investigation was designed to shut him up.
Right. And where was he when you spoke to him? Do you know where he was?
I don't know for sure, but I'm quite certain, like, that he was in Florida. That he was in what he described, what he says on his website is the Space Coast. I don't know if any viewers or you, Katie, are familiar with Cocoa Beach, Florida, or it's kind of like it's a little bit of ways outside of Orlando, but it's where the Kennedy Space Center is.
Got it.
It's where all of our major space launches take place. The only time that I've ever been there actually was when I still worked for RT a few years ago, and I was covering a SpaceX launch, an Elon Musk launch, which ended up a disaster. He ended up like blowing up a bunch of school kids' science projects up in the air.
What a metaphor. That's so perfect.
That's really what happened. But yeah, the Kennedy Space Center where we launch off our rockets. And so it's known as the Space Coast in Florida. And Jordan Goudreau lives there. That's where Silvercore is based. And I believe that's where he was when he was speaking with me. And I believe that's where he was when he was speaking with Miami media the day before he spoke with me.
And then so you speak to his friend, and let's just play a little bit of that. I'm trying to remember if there's any part in it in particular. I mean, it's pretty long, but I like the part where it's kind of sad. Like he says how much he cares about Jordan. Let's see. Let me just play a little bit of this. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Okay, let's see.
From Sandy Hook to Maduro. That's what somebody commented. Oh my God, Elon Musk.
Let's see. Chrome tab, Silvercore. Okay. So here's this guy. And like, to be fair, he's a real sport because other men would feel really kind of like second fiddle because you're basically telling him, you're like, where's your
I couldn't get to
guy?
Jordan.
Yeah.
Where you at though?
But he handles it as like a champ. So let's listen to that. But I'll take you for now.
I can't hear it.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry, we can't hear it. I should have told you
that.
that.
1 second. No, this is good to know. This is good. 1 second. This is all the tech stuff. You see, I'm a one woman. I've
been learning how to do it recently, and it's really hard.
What do you do it on?
I do it on Streamlabs, and then I do it onto YouTube through this program called Streamlabs. But anybody who pays attention to the Gray Zone or the Rania and Anya show chats will know that the viewers love to call me Boomer because I can never figure out the audio.
Right.
They're like, Boomer Anya, she just starts every show muted. Yeah, it's really hard though, so good on you.
It is hard. This is called Streamlabs. No, this is called StreamYard. Okay. Tell me if this works now.
He broke ways. He started contracting overseas. And then he contacted me about this Venezuelan operation, which appeared at the moment to be a State Department operation, right? Well, as I started to look into it, the contracts didn't line up, so we just broke ways there, and then I didn't, get involved in the actual operation or to get this early. It just didn't seem like a sanctioned operation. So.
Right. So why do you say it was State Department?
Dun, dun, dun.
It was a contract that was as a State Department contract, but I just didn't see it as that. It did not appear to be a State Department contract.
But he was trying to suggest it was?
Yeah, I mean, it was said it was. Yeah, I mean, he said it was.
Do you think that maybe even though it wasn't officially a State Department contract, that there were U.S. officials involved? U.S. officials?
Zero. As far as I can tell, there's no U.S. involvement in this at all.
So what exactly was Jordan's relationship with Keith Schiller?
I'm not sure. Apparently they've talked, but not privy to it. I don't know the relationship. I've never met the guy. I've never talked to him. I was just told that there was a relationship.
Yeah, it seemed that Jordan has done security
Keith
for
being the bodyguard, the
Mhm.
personal
so
bodyguard
got
of
so
Trump.
caught up in the Venezuela.
Right. So Keith Taylor is the bodyguard of Donald Trump, as you just said. And I mean, I can link to this so people can hear it more. But basically, he says that like he's worried about him. He was his best man. He's one of his best friends. He really loves the guy. He respects the guy, but he's really nervous about it. And he didn't try to kind of he thought that he was a true believer. That was what was interesting. So you kind of kept suggesting or asking about whether or not he had been working with the State Department or with any Trumpites. And he seems to really think that the guy, as he said, really thinks that it's a good idea a true believer. He wants it, and he really wanted to remove Maduro and put in Guaido. Is that he said it in a really? He didn't say?
Oh, they all say it in different ways. They're like,
Yeah.
Guaido.
I know. It's like when people overcorrect. It's like Spanish and they call him Chavez. It's like, no, it's just Chavez.
Yeah, it's just like you don't have to try that hard, but it's just more that they didn't know how to say his name.
Right, exactly.
Because nobody does. It's like when Secretary of State Mike Pompeo called him Juan Guaido.
That is some self-loathing there. An Italian American, how dare he call someone like that?
Juan Guaido.
Yeah, seriously, terrible. I did have a boyfriend whose name, no kidding, no joke, was Kike, spelled Kike. Yeah, wait for it. It takes a little bit. Yeah, he was from Colombia.
I got it.
Yeah, because other people spell it Quique, but Quique, but no, he was Kike, which is always made for interesting text messages. And
this is my boyfriend.
Yeah, I'm coming with Kike. Anyway, so what else was noteworthy in your discussion with him?
Well, the main question that I had was, why was Jordan Goudreau ever under the impression that he had a State Department contract? In that specific conversation, the reason I published it as a whole piece was just because I would have felt dishonest only releasing part of it, editing like him saying that it was a State Department contract and then not including everything else he said. Yeah. And just because at that point, I think there are two possibilities. I believe Drew White was telling me the truth. I believe that he also, anyone intelligent in that operation at that point who was affiliated with that company, at that stage when the whole cover had been blown, they knew that they should deny U.S. government involvement. Right. And they may have been told to do so. But the reason I say that is because, again, Jordan Goudreau is now under investigation. I believe he wanted to talk and that he wanted to say more, but that this investigation is designed in order to shut him up and make it look like the crazy guy is being taken care of, even though he got this far, somehow shipping weapons into Colombia and running military training camps out of the country without anybody in Colombia or the United States knowing. Right. Which is just not really believable. But that Jordan or Drew at that point was telling me the truth. And so I wanted people to also just hear he was genuinely concerned about his friend and about his two friends, especially who at that point been detained and were in Venezuelan custody. It was really kind of sad, but also funny because at the end of the conversation, Drew says, I wish they just stuck to doing the school security stuff. Yeah. Like, he was laughing in between tears when he said that, but like, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm sure they wish that too. Right. But yeah, Jordan has not shown any signs of life since that moment. And Drew, I think I'm really grateful that he came forward and actually said that Jordan, at the very least, was under the impression that he had a State Department contract, because it raised the question, even if the contract Jordan ultimately presented to Drew White didn't seem legitimate, that makes sense, because the United States State Department or any government agency would not want its fingerprints on this operation. They wouldn't produce a contract with a company I think if they thought that there was a chance that that contract would ultimately be leaked. And so it's possible that there were people around Jordan Goudreau who were in the State Department and were telling him that they were going to support him, but they couldn't actually produce a legal document to get someone like Drew White to sign on. Right. And so it doesn't necessarily prove that the State Department wasn't involved. The bigger question is, why would he have been saying that he had support from the State Department in the first place? Why? I mean, I don't think that someone would just make that up, because you wouldn't even want to go ahead with an operation like this unless you believe that you had more support, because it's completely batshit. And I should just also point out that 2 days before the AP report came out, which revealed this plot and discussed Jordan Goudreau for the first time ever, 2 days before that report, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo gave a briefing to journalists in Washington, D.C., during which he actually said that he'd instructed his staff to update plans for the reopening of the U.S. Embassy in Caracas, because according to Mike Pompeo, democratization efforts, or whatever weird term he used for it, were succeeding in Venezuela, and so they were expecting to reopen the embassy. The embassy in Caracas has been restricted since the United States initiated this coup and recognized Juan Guaido last year. In the spring of last year, Venezuela dismissed the U.S. diplomatic staff, the highest-ranking diplomat, the charge d'affaires, a man named James Story, and kicked him out of the country likely story, exactly. They kicked him out of the country because at that point, the U.S. had openly recognized a different president and was openly trying to overthrow the government. So they were like, you have to leave. And so what did those U.S. diplomats do? They didn't go back to the United States. They just went to Colombia. They opened up a virtual embassy in Bogota, the Colombian capital. And that's essentially been the center of destabilization operations against Venezuela since then. And so I truly believe that some staff in that virtual embassy must have had knowledge of what Jordan Goudreau was doing. And why else would Secretary of State Mike Pompeo have said just days before Jordan was going ahead with this operation that he actually expected the U.S. embassy to reopen in Caracas? I mean, nobody else looking at news reports would have said, oh yeah, Juan Guaido is going to take control of the country tomorrow. But for some reason, Mike Pompeo was confident. Just days before this coup took place, or failed coup took place, Big Mike wanted to go back to Caracas.
Yeah, it sounds like the name of a really good play. Big
Mike wants to go.
Big Mike wanted to go. Yeah, our man in Caracas, our big Mike man in Caracas or something. Yeah. Let's just take a few. Do you do this during your shows? Do you do like live?
Questions, whatever. Yeah, of course. That's the best part.
Yeah. Can you see them right now?
Yeah, I can.
Oops, okay.
Jabba the Hutt. Yes.
Great. Oops. Let me just delete this thingy right
Don't
here.
call Cuomo Frito.
Oh no, they can't see it. Phew. Okay, they can't see it. Oh, no. Yeah. Don't call Cuomo Fredo. Yes. Here, you wanna take a stab at your favorite?
Which is my favorite?
Can you see them?
I can, but give me a specific question or a comment to respond
to. Sure. All right, let's go. I'll assign you. I'll assign you. How about a lot of comments, because our leftists are watching this, so comments are leftist.
They love to talk.
Questions. Yeah. I mean, they're very nice. A lot of them. Any
Jimmy
questions?
Dore said he wanted to ask a question.
Yeah. Then he bounced.
Then he left.
Thank you, man.
Mini Ninja Love. I don't say.
Oh, no wonder. Like, guys, this is great. We really appreciate this. But does anyone have any questions at all? If not, I'm gonna ask you a question. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about your show, Red Lines, and about your other show with Rania Khalek.
Sure.
What they are.
The Rania and Anya show.
Yeah. Why are you laughing at it?
Because it's so funny, because Ronnie and I talked about the fact for years that our names sounded the same.
Ranyanan, got it. Ranyanya. Yeah, I get it
And
now.
so we just always joked that we would one day do this show, and now that we're stuck under quarantine, we were like, yeah, let's just do it. We'll just do the live streams. But I mean, my show Red Lines, we broadcast it on the Gray Zone YouTube channel. You're probably
A lot of color going on. Yeah.
Lots of red.
Yeah.
We broadcast on the Gray Zone. There are 2 shows right now. The Gray Zone produces mine, Red Lines, and then Aaron Mate, who many of you are probably familiar with, does Pushback. And my show, well, what I release are reports like the one Katie was playing about Venezuela. I also try to just stay in touch with different reporters and experts whom I've met and interacted with over the years, and publish interviews with them, whether that's about Syria or Palestine, Venezuela. And what I'm really always excited about is to produce kind of original content like that interview with Goudreau and Drew White. So we're kind of, as a whole, the Gray Zone focused on questioning the mainstream foreign policy narratives and like the lie of the day, whether it's Russiagate or any reports trying to get us into war with Venezuela or Syria, anywhere, Iran. And then, since the quarantine started, Ronnie and I just every other week have kind of been doing this live stream on the channel as well, Ronnie Pollock and myself. So that is okay. I see.
You mean you were planning to do this for years and years, and then finally with the quarantine, your plans were able to be recognized. Yeah.
It was our dream. Yeah. To have the Ronnie and Anya show, and now we're like, we have the time to do it. So someone asked a pretty interesting question in the comments, which was, Anya, how do you feel about mainstream media silence on Venezuela recently? It's very telling.
Look at that. Can you look at the screen, though? I just wanted to show you how cool this program is. Unless you show it. Yes. Shout out to Nick Tom, who's not here with us today. But yeah.
He's not with us here today?
I mean, he's alive. He just took some time off. And I'll give shouts out to other people if they want me to. But they should text me and tell me if they want shout outs or not. Okay. Yes.
No, this is a great program. StreamYard, right? Shout out. So someone asked, Anya, how do you feel about mainstream media silence on Venezuela recently? It's very telling because think about it. This story had all the trappings of like the sexiest, most intriguing drama for mainstream television, corporate media, whatever. You've got everything. You've got evil dictator Maduro.
Right. Even if you have terrible politics, right?
Exactly. Even if you don't have, you're not coming from the same perspective I am, right?
Yeah.
You've got the evil dictator Maduro. You've got the heroic U.S. Green Berets, Jack Ryan, right? Wanting to go liberate the country. You've got Bay of Pigs, which for all of the flaws in U.S. history, that's one of the few stories we actually get. I think it's like kind of talked about mainstream education, the Bay of Pigs.
Right.
And it's got all of those elements, the story. And now there are 2 U.S. citizens, 2 former U.S. soldiers in custody in a foreign country, in an enemy foreign country, according to the mainstream media. You would think that they would be so interested in covering this story 24/7, talking about how an evil dictator now has 2 U.S. soldiers in U.S. custody, and who is this man, Jordan Goudreau, who tried to carry out the policy of the Trump administration with or without the backing of the Trump administration. Even if you remove the U.S. government from the equation, it's a sexy story. And there's really only been peripheral or superficial discussion of the news. Part of that could be because of the COVID mania, but I truly do believe even still this story is one of the most interesting things happening. And the fact that US media hasn't made a bigger deal about it must have something to do with something above the the masters in corporate media. I think there's kind of an understanding that for some reason this isn't a story that we're supposed to poke at too much, because honestly, if honest reporters did their due diligence, you would have to start to raise basic questions about this case, which I just don't think the mainstream is ready for. For example, how did a U.S. citizen get so far? How did a U.S. citizen ship weapons into Colombia and run entire military training camps with other U.S. citizens? How did, for example, one of the Venezuelan collaborators in this story, a Venezuelan military defector named Clibera Cala, how was he a major source for the AP story while he was in U.S. custody? Because this was an individual who the United States arrested in March. And then he was a named source in the AP story after the fact. How is he able to speak to U.S. media without the knowledge of the U.S. government? How is he bringing up, how did the U.S. government not know if they'd captured this individual who apparently was involved in the plot? And so you just really can't talk about it unless you're willing to point the finger at Washington. And no one in the corporate media wants to do that right now.
Right.
I think I think there are maybe one or two people who would do it. I think, and one of the reasons that I believe Jordan Goudreau is completely silent right now and believe that he's been silenced by the U.S. government is because I gave his contact again to people at Fox News who I thought, look, if this guy wasn't going to talk to me, he would definitely talk to Fox. Right. And the fact that he didn't respond to Fox and that those people at Fox were wanting to do the story and maybe raise some of the same questions I would have raised says a lot about the situation we're in, or the situation Jordan Goudreau is in.
Well, you're already starting to identify with them. That's what happens when you're in a relationship. It's called the urge to merge in psychology. Let's see. We got another great question. Let's see. Well, we got great stuff. Hey from Guatemala. Hey from England. Hi, everyone. Okay, let's see. Here is another great one. Is there any U.S. elected pushing back on Venezuela regime change efforts? U.S. elected official, right? Yeah. Do you know about that?
There have been statements here and there issued by the Progressive Caucus of the Democratic Party last year against Trump regime change efforts in Venezuela. However, there have not been any people who I think were willing to speak out in a meaningful way about Trump's regime change policy. AOC, for example, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she very early on said that she was going to side with the party leadership position on Venezuela. She did some live streams saying that Venezuela was about authoritarianism versus a dictatorship and kind of just adopting the mainstream line. And
wait, what is this? Authoritarianism versus dictatorship? I didn't know that this was.
That's what AOC said in one of her Instagram lives.
So she's making like a political science distinction between those two things?
Yeah.
Or she's saying that he's both of them?
No, oh wait, did I say authoritarianism versus dictatorship?
Yeah.
She said authoritarianism versus democracy. So,
okay, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Thank you for catching me. Yeah, so she was trying.
I was like, wow, she's really deep in that PH in that that one. And no shade on her, but I was like, she's deep in the political theory. Okay, yeah.
But there's not been really any significant opposition from elected officials in the United States. And I would have liked to see, for example, Bernie Sanders make that a bigger issue during his campaign, or you would at least Tulsi denounced sanctions, and I mean, her whole shtick is being opposed to regime change wars, and so she did mention Venezuela.
Wait, Anya, that sounds a little Russian-y, as Joy Ann Reid said when someone said regime change wars. Do you remember that?
Russian.
She literally said that's Russian-y. Yeah. Maybe we should get Joy Ann Reid in here to analyze our body.
Oh my gosh, have you ever invited her on the Katie Halper show?
No, I need to. I really should. She probably, what happened was, if I email her though, I don't know, it could still go into the like Wayback Machine and Russians could somehow spy on it and turn it into something, and who knows. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I cut you off. So you were saying no real. You were saying Tulsi does.
Tulsi did. She did speak out against U.S. sanctions on Venezuela, but I actually did ask her once off the record about it, and she gave I mean, she's very good on sanctions, and I think is the person who really made anti-regime change foreign policy kind of the center of her campaign. But I mean, unfortunately, she's not even going to be a member of Congress this time next year. So they've run a challenger against her in Hawaii, and she's not looking for her seat again. So I'm curious what she's going to do next, but I don't think she has enough influence in the party. And she's willing to stand up to the leaders of the party, which is kind of what makes her more respectable in my eyes, but also someone who's now suffered and not going to be able to
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that they were primarying her. When did they announce that?
Well, after she resigned from the DNC in opposition to what happened to Sanders in 2016, right? So Tulsi resigned from the Democratic National Committee after all of the rigging and unfairness that we all knew was true, actually was reported as fact, thanks to the WikiLeaks email. Right. And she resigned from the DNC, and then from that point, the party dumped a ton of money and energy into challenging her in the primary with another veteran, right? Which is her really strong, a veteran, but a veteran who's got Nancy Pelosi's brain, Nancy Pelosi's views, and so it became pretty clear that Tulsi was not going to be able to win her seat again, and then she announced that she wasn't even going to run for it.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah, a few months ago, like actually maybe 8 or 9 months ago at this point. Yeah, but
my favorite part of Tulsi was watching a Russian asset endorse Joe Biden.
A Russian what?
Asset, she was called a Russian asset, and then but then I know it was great, but then what happens is that it's so unfortunate for the Biden campaign because she endorsed him. Yeah, so I was really shocked that
Well, yeah, and people were really upset when Tulsi endorsed Biden and dropped out because they said that it was a betrayal since she was a heavy Sanders supporter and should have endorsed Bernie at that point. But I, first of all, take Tulsi at her word in this instance, which is she said from the very beginning, she's a Democrat, she's running as a Democrat, she was going to endorse the party nominee. And so the reason she made the decision to drop out was because she knew Joe Biden was the nominee, the presumptive nominee, and so she had to support that person. But I also think she was giving everybody a big middle finger and saying, fuck you, I'm a Russian plant, well, I'm going to endorse your mainstream liberal candidate. What, come at me now. What are you going to say now?
Yeah, exactly. Russian assets for Biden.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because if she'd endorsed Sanders, it would have hurt Sanders and it would have hurt Tulsi Gabbard.
Right. It's true. Yeah. I mean, I think what people wanted was for her not to endorse at all, I think, because my sense wait it out. But let's see. Yeah. You should hear our latest episode. People really think of me as very, I'm a big Bernie person, but I got to say, you're
an independent thinker.
I am. I mean, yeah, but I am.
I know you love Bernie a lot, but I think you're.
And we had Jimmy Dore on, so lest anyone think that I, am loath to countenance Bernie criticism, I suggest everyone listen to the latest episode of Useful Idiots, actually, where we have him. Also, since we're shamelessly plugging, I want to give people a chance to. All right, I don't even know how to do this. Well, first, I'm going to give a shout out to Dorsey Shaw and Kelly Carey, who are also helping behind the scenes. And I don't know what to do really, but basically, if you're here. Can you subscribe to the YouTube channel that you're watching from? Just hit the bell or something. Subscribe, like it. Also, if you want to support this stuff, you can go to patreon.com/The Katie Halper Show. Again, that's patreon.com/The Katie Halper Show. And I'm not putting things behind paywall, not to shoot myself in the foot. Or I'm putting very little things behind. Very few of the things I'm producing are going behind paywall because I want to give, because people are hurting. So I want to give people the chance to support the show without, not penalizing. I don't know, whatever the term is. So if you can give something, even if it's $1, yes, exactly. You can give just $1, by the way, and you can still sleep at night knowing that you've donated to the Katie Halper Show. Also, subscribe to the Gray Zone's YouTube channel.
Oh, thank you, Katie.
And follow Anya if you're not already at Anya Parampil. Okay, how about this? You see this question?
Yes.
Do you, Anya? Okay.
Do you, Anya, think that if Trump wins, we will end up with war with Iran and Venezuela before the end of his next term? Very interesting. And the specifics you gave, Venezuela and Iran, relevant because it may not be before the end of Trump's next term. It could be very well before this term ends. And the reason I say that is because currently, right now, Iranian oil tanker. So Venezuela is, even though Venezuela has the #1 oil reserves in the world, actually the largest recorded oil reserves in the world, you probably thought it was Iraq or Saudi Arabia. No, Venezuela. Even though the country is blessed with these natural resources, it's actually experiencing gas shortages and a crisis right now essentially because of sanctions. The United States always claims that sanctions don't target industry or they don't target medical supplies, blah, 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 blah. But in reality, if you're the United States, you control the entire global financial system. If you freeze Venezuelan assets and then you say that another group of people are actually the government of Venezuela, then the actual government in that country can't even access its own wealth that's stored in Europe and the United States. And how else are they going to, believe it or not, Venezuela is not able to produce everything that it uses on its own. It has to import certain technological, like even for their rail and for their basic mechanical systems, need to import parts from Europe, just as the United States does with many parts that it uses in its major industries. And because Venezuela can't even make payments for that product abroad because its money is frozen in the hands of different people, or international financial institutions don't even recognize the legitimacy of the Venezuelan government, that prevents them from even updating basic technological parts in terms of oil production, in terms of just everything that a country needs, and especially medical supplies. There have been instances when the Venezuelan government tried to purchase HIV medicine, but then because the bank, which was responsible for overseeing the transaction, was European, they couldn't actually make the payment because the bank says, no, in order to comply with sanctions, we're not going to do that. So even though the US says sanctions only target the government, what that actually means is the government can't buy anything for its people. So Venezuela is experiencing a gas shortage, even though it has all the oil in the ground, because it's not even able to pump it or produce it at the rate that it should be able to. And so Iran, which is one of Venezuela's greatest international partners, has sent oil to Venezuela. And there are several, I think it's 3 Iranian oil tankers coming to Venezuela right now as we speak. And the United States, you may remember, several weeks ago actually put a bounty on the head of President Nicolas Maduro, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, said that he was charged with drug trafficking, and that if anybody could provide information leading to the arrest or capture of Maduro, that the United States would give that person $15 million. And so this is also evidence that you could use to say, well, this kind of policy is exactly designed to encourage someone like Jordan Goudreau to go ahead and do what he did, because you get a $15 million reward. But it also was the pretext the United States gave in order to send actual warships to Venezuela through the Caribbean, which they say these ships are designed for anti-narco trafficking patrols in the region. No. Those ships are there as a direct threat to the Iranian oil tankers delivering oil to Venezuela. And the United States has actually threatened to seize and attack those ships, which would be an act of war not only on Venezuela, but on Iran as well. A naval blockade is legally a war, a declaration of war against a country. And so if the United States were going to say that Iran was not allowed to deliver this oil, it would not only be a naval blockade carried out against Venezuela, it would be an attack on Iran. And Russia has already said if Venezuela experiences more attacks from the United States, especially after this last round with Jordan Goudreau, Russia will step in. So if the United States, and I'm absolutely sure that there are people in the US administration right now who are trying to convince President Trump to attack those oil tankers and seize the Iranian ships. If the United States were to go ahead with that, you'd not only get war with Iran and Venezuela, but you'd get Russia, and we'd get World War III right here smack in the middle of the Western Hemisphere. And considering the economy isn't looking too good, Katie, I really do fear that many people, many of our elite would love to see a war because that's how they can make money. That's one of the few ways they can still make money in this country. But it's really scary. And so the question about war with Iran and Venezuela, very relevant, because in the next few days, we'll know whether or not the United States was going to allow those ships to proceed or whether or not they were really going to take drastic measures and potentially launch World War III in order to stop them.
Right. And that's, I mean, I had your Gray Zone, fellow Gray Zone journalist and founder, Max Blumenthal on the show earlier this week. And one of the things we were talking about, or was it Aaron Mate, your other fellow Gray Zoner? I should just do a weekly roundtable with you guys. But we were talking about how it would be, right?
It would be very fun.
The Grady Halper show. Just made that up. Yeah. Good, right? But how, Trump's alleged softness on Russia is kind of undermined. That narrative is undermined by what the Trump administration does with Venezuela, right? Mm-hmm. Like if Putin and Maduro are buddy, or at least, have shared interests, why is Trump being hard on Venezuela? Like, mm-hmm. To go back to the dating dynamics that we were talking about earlier, and I remember a couple years ago I had Aaron Mate on, and I joked how, given that the original, the Michael Flynn communication was actually based on what Israel Gate, right? We should call it Israel Gate.
Yeah.
Given that, right? And that was when Flynn asked the ambassador to, on behalf of Jared Kushner, who as mm-hmm. a Jew, I'm so offended by him, mm-hmm. but on behalf of Jared Kushner, Flynn asked Russia to vote to abstain or vote against a resolution
to veto,
to veto the resolution, non-binding resolution that was condemning Israel for the human rights violating
illegal settlement activity. It was specifically about
right.
And never before, every year, the United States had always voted in favor of it, including under the Obama administration, or I should say they vetoed it. And then Obama
vetoed the settlement condemning it. Yeah.
And then Obama's last act to try and pose as this progressive was to say, we're going to abstain.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. We're not going to vote against condemning the settlements. So it's just
it's a completely symbolic resolution.
Yeah, totally symbolic. So Michael Flynn asks Kislyak,
Look at you, Katie, you're sounding a little Russian.
I know. Kislyak.
Getting a little Russian-y.
I am Russian. Asks him to, if Russia will veto that. And the irony is that that Putin doesn't agree.
No. That's so antithetical to Russian diplomatic strategy, which is just on a very basic level, always vote along the lines of international law, which is basically what everybody else does other than the United States.
Yeah. Right. And then
if you're gonna acknowledge international law, you kind of have to acknowledge that those settlements are illegal.
Right. Oh my God. I didn't realize I had a raging anti-Semite on my show. That's a joke, everyone, in case you don't get it. But again, that's like, so, all those really progressive woke memes about Biden, about Trump and Putin being boyfriends. According to that narrative, I guess Putin plays hard to get with Trump, right? Like,
Yeah.
or else he would have agreed to vote, to veto
Plays
that thing. But
three-dimensional chess.
yeah, right. Like you did with Jordan. What else? We got some more questions. Let's see. Let's go with this one. Any Venezuelan journalists you would recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say everyone, if you speak Spanish, you should, well, even if you speak English also, there's Misión Verdad, Mission Truth. That's the organization which we work with very closely at the Gray Zone. Some of my best Venezuelan friends, Diego Sequeira, William Serafino, Gustavo Borges, Bruno Sargazi, all these people that you might see me retweeting, they're all affiliated with Misión Verdad. You can follow them on Twitter in Spanish or English. Also, there's a great RT correspondent there, Erika Sanoja, friend of mine. Telesur, all of the journalists who work for Telesur, and also VTV, Venezuelan television.
De vaca, no de burro, which
there's
in
so
Spanish,
many.
it's V of cow, not of mule. And it's the way you distinguish between V as in V and B as in that way. Yeah.
There's so many people that I'm probably forgetting, but if you go on my Twitter, you'll see me retweeting these people quite a bit. But yeah,
make a list. You should make a Twitter list. Remember Twitter lists?
I should, or follow Friday. FF.
Follow Friday. Yeah, exactly. Hashtag FF. Yeah. Let's see. We got another one. Then I also want to give people. I'm going to post a link to. This is Anya's. Like, these are her stories at the Gray Zone.
Oh,
in case people want to ask.
You.
Yeah. And in case people want to ask her anything based on those, but also just make sure that you check it out. Let's see. Okay, we got Daniel just joining now. Thoughts on Biden lashing out at Cuba for being on the UN Human Rights Panel and him supporting the blockade?
Very, very funny. Not only was Cuba elected to the UN Human Rights Council last year, but Venezuela was as well. And yeah, Joe Biden, he will not be very different from President Trump on Venezuela. He's already given interviews to media in Miami saying that while he would return to the Obama-era policy of normalization with Cuba, that he wouldn't refrain from sanctioning them over their support for Maduro in Venezuela. And
isn't that literally not normalization, though?
Yeah, no, you can't have normalization if you're sanctioning countries. And actually, not even sanctioning them, just like from the United States issuing these unilateral orders saying, like, ban Cuba, ban. It's like sanctions actually used to mean that you went through the UN or some institution with international jurisdiction to like punish a country. And now sanctions actually just mean like some guy in the Treasury Department is issuing a demand saying like freeze these accounts. The US law and policy applies to the whole world. So yeah, I mean, Joe Biden saying all that about Cuba was just ridiculous. And I don't think he'll be very different from Trump on Latin America, sadly.
Right. Any other questions or anything else that you want to talk about? You've been doing great reporting on Andrew Cuomo. I love the title. Andrew Cuomo is not Bay.
He's not. Disgusting.
Yeah. You want to talk about that? What's going to happen,
Katie?
What?
What's going to happen?
I don't know, but I've always been, Andrew Cuomo is, as a friend of the show, Ava Farkas has said on the Katie Halper show. Is he really what?
Andrew Cuomo is a friend of the show?
No, Ava Farkas is a friend of the show who works for, sorry, yeah, no, right. Yeah, exactly.
I was like, damn, Katie, you can get an interview with him when the only person who can get an interview with him is his brother.
Oh my God, their backs and forths are painful, but
it's actually disgusting. His brother called him the love gov.
I mean, I'm just glad Mario Cuomo is not. No, I didn't know that, but I'm just glad that like Mario Cuomo isn't around to see what his sons have. What his sons have turned into. But Ava Farkas, who I've had on the show, I was just going into YouTube to get the link because it's a really great episode. Because she is someone who works on homelessness, really on housing and homelessness issues. And so I had a nice little a little interview with her. I'm just going to put in the links. Let's see. There you go. But she talks about how he's his failure of leadership and his austerity budget and how he's really just a fiscal conservative. So there you go. But yeah, Anya, anything else you want to talk about? Anything from what you're writing, what your video reporting on, or we could talk about ice cream and dessert and drinking, because on the last live stream I did with Scott Hader, we talked about that. Like, what's your favorite? What are you drinking? What's your favorite drink?
I'm usually a whiskey on the rocks kind of gal. I find wine to be too sugary, but also it depends on where. If I am in South America, I want to drink rum.
Nice Chile. Oh, I thought you were gonna say a nice Chilean or something. Okay, you drink rum in South America. Okay, got it.
Yeah, or arak if I'm in the Middle East. But when I'm home, I'm just gonna buy whiskey and probably smoke weed.
Okay. All right. So we've got a weed positive guest.
Katie, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm weed positive. It doesn't cause brain damage, despite what you may have heard. Are you doing like cooking or anything fun under quarantine? Like, are you harnessing any skills, sharpening them?
No, I'm trying to. Let's see. What am I trying
Are
to
you
do?
taking singing? Something.
No,
like
and I'm not breaking. I'm not baking any bread. My mom actually started to. My dad's gone gluten free. And so, in fact, I have not. In fact, actually, you want to know what I've taken up? This is the worst. I'm not. I talked about this last time. This is people are gonna think I'm obsessed, but I'm not a big bread person. I'm more of a pasta person. If we're gonna talk about carbs, but there is a bread that I should get sponsored by. I got to find out where it's from. It's somewhere up outside the city, and it is so good that
it's like a bakery, like a local
Italian. Bakery. Yeah, it's Italian bread. It is so good. I can't. Yeah, it's so good. So I'm but yeah, I'm not. So my mom is baking some gluten-free bread. We're making a lot of what else? Fish. Yeah, my dad's trying gluten-free, and he's not like some fake like new agey guy. He actually was had celiac as a kid, which is
that's
like
what every girl who I was in high school with claimed to have celiac disease.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they didn't have to eat bread.
No, but he legit
had it. No, I know. I'm just
Yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah. All right. By the way, here's an important announcement from Kelly. Kelly, do you want to come on and tell people on video, or you want me to just tell it to them?
Anya, what's your favorite Michael Parenti book?
Oh yeah. Oh right. Remember you? Yeah.
Inventing Reality. Because this is actually what Noam Chomsky based and Edward Herman based
manufacturing
consent on. This was published before, 2 years before they published Manufacturing Consent, but kind of talked about the same ideas, but more based in like an analysis of the power structure of the United States. And also Michael Parenti's not an anti-communist, so that's why I always boost his work.
Ouch. Shots fired at Chomsky.
Michael Parenti didn't celebrate the collapse of the Soviet Union. I'm just going to say that.
He mourned it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did.
Let me bring on no, I don't mean to, I don't want people to think I'm censoring you. I hear you. Here's another question. And then I'm going to bring on, actually, let me bring on Kelly. 1 second.
A different take on Julius Caesar was really good too, Joe Howard, by the way. But yes, Kelly has a special announcement.
Okay, 1 second. I loved his different take on Julius Caesar. I don't know about that. I got to look into it.
Everybody should read The Assassination of Julius Caesar by Michael Parenti.
Did not even know he's not that old. But
he was around.
To cover it. Yeah, I know. Sorry. Okay, let's add in Kelly. You there? Kelly, welcome. How are you? Can we hear you?
I'm great.
Oh, hey, we can hear you. Kelly, welcome.
Thank you.
Kelly has a special announcement. She's also responsible. She and Dorsey, who's watching, hopefully, they are helping. They're midwifing the channel that you are watching now.
That's a great.
They're doulaying it. Yeah.
Doulaying it.
Yeah. Feels good. I don't know if it's a special announcement, but Anya, you asked Katie if she was doing anything during quarantine, and one of the things is trying to launch a YouTube channel.
Yay!
Yeah. So anyone who's watching who hasn't subscribed yet, it's a huge help if you could tell your friends or your fake friends on Twitter or whatever
Your enemies or your frenemies, yeah.
Your enemies, just your family, if they don't fall into either. You know, as many people as we can get to give Katie a try, take a taste of Katie Halper.
Yeah, it's really gonna be my slogan. Yeah,
and see if you like what if it's your
cup of tea,
if it suits your palate.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be live streaming. And I'm going to officially put this in stone. It's going to be live streaming on Wednesdays and Fridays as of right now at 9 p.m. And on Mondays, it will be. What are you doing?
I'm lip syncing.
You're lip syncing.
Are you going to lip sync on Mondays?
At 3 p.m. or 4 p.m.? I can't remember. Is that what we're
Let me see. On Mondays, it won't be it'll be a little bit. It'll be a little bit what? A little bit of a pre-record, so it won't be the same day. You'll just be recording it at 3 p.m. and so it won't be live. And hopefully you'll
maybe
have
4 p.m. Probably 4 p.m. Yeah.
Whichever.
Yeah.
It will go up
and hopefully what?
And as will clips from the live streams and the interviews that you have, and hopefully grow from there.
Yeah, definitely grow from there. Definitely, no question. Thank you, Kelly.
Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe and look at this. We already got Big Mayo is saying hit that like button, mash that like button. Daniel says loving those streams, Katie. Big Mayo. Gotta run. Thanks forever. Gray Zone forever. So, you got really great endorsements. Yeah. Gray Zone for life. GZFL.
I like how somebody joked about Michael Parenti having field notes from the Roman
I know, that was
Senate.
great. Where is that? I was gonna put that up.
Same guy, really Big
yeah, we're not even, let's see. Parenti, because I joked about how he's not that old because someone brought, where is this? Where's this?
It's right there. It's like two above the one.
Oh, yeah, this is great. Yeah. So I said, someone said, Joe Howard said, I loved his different take on Julius Caesar. I joked, he's not that old. And then Big Mayo writes, Parenti's infield notes from the Roman Senate. That is really funny. Yeah. I've had Christian Parenti on.
Oh, yeah. That's
Son of
cool.
Michael, SOM. Yeah. I'll have him on again.
Son of Michael.
Yeah. All right, great. Anything else? Anya, you want to say anything else? Any last questions for Anya, for Kelly, for me?
Well, thank you for having me, Katie. We should do Rania and Anya show. Next.
I will.
We'll do it sometimes. We'll do it because we do Friday nights too, so maybe we can mesh our shows.
Oh yeah,
together.
What time is your Friday night?
We usually do 8, but every other week it's.
All right, so 9 o'clock is okay, right?
Yeah, why not?
I'm gonna start baking challah so people can celebrate Shabbat.
Oh, you are.
Shabbos.
Very cool.
Although I don't think you can be on electricity or whatever on Shabbat, but whatever.
But
we'll figure it out.
It's okay.
We'll bake it before.
No, but Friday. Exactly. No, it's sunset. Sunset apparently is when Shabbat starts.
Yeah.
Right, so how can I do my Shabbat thing before?
You do it in the afternoon on Friday.
No, and then bake the bread before.
You do it.
But then but then people can't watch if they're celebrating unless they're like me, or we can. Maybe the Torah has a quarantine exception. I wouldn't be surprised.
Do most of your viewers observe Shabbos?
I don't think any do. I mean, this is a safe space. Well, I don't know if they do. They're not watching this, so. But they could watch it when it's
all of the live streams. I mean, I'm assuming everyone who's on here right now is pretty familiar with YouTube, but you can watch them all later
on.
All the time.
Right.
At your leisure, at your religious availability,
convenience. So observant Jews who are not watching this right now, either you're watching this because you're cheating, which I understand, because religion's a hard thing to stick with, or you're watching this not live, and I want you to know you're so welcome, and I'm so appreciative of it. And I love challah. And I went to I actually went to like a yeshiva, and I didn't have a Hebrew name that I knew of. So I said that my Hebrew name, it was like we were going around a circle. We had to say our Hebrew name, and everyone was like, my name is like Jonathan. my Hebrew name is Yonatan. My name is Rebecca. My Hebrew name is Rivka. And it was getting to me, and I was like, what the hell is my Hebrew name? And so it got to me, and I was like, my name is Katie, and my Hebrew name is Kachkala, which is actually Yiddish for little duck.
Oh,
And which is adorable, and it's because it's a name my uncle would call me, but not actually a Hebrew name. Yeah, and in fact, next time I come on, I'm gonna play some videos of my uncle who would have been 77.
Yeah, I
May
saw your
20th.
sweet post.
Yeah.
Your post was so cute.
Yeah, thanks. So I'll play some because I have a great video of him talking about neo-fascists versus neoconservatives.
Did you ever figure out is there a Hebrew version of Katie?
I don't think so. I mean, I come from a very Catholic named Jewish family. It's kind of weird. I'm Catherine Rose. My mom is Nora Jean, and my dad is James Paul.
Cute. They're so
yeah.
cute.
Yeah, they're cute. Yeah.
Well, say hi to them.
I will. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Any final notices? Let's see. Patreon.com/The Katie Halper Show.
Do you ladies have any plans for the weekend? Holiday weekend? That's what Joe Howard asked.
Oh, let's see. I'm gonna chill out. I'm gonna chill with Bodhi, as is my wont. She's the cutest little dog.
Aww.
I'm going to what else? I don't know. You know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to work out more.
There's like the holiday weekend is kind of meaningless now because we're every day, right. Whether you work or not, it's like
a winding road.
Everything is shut down. Yeah, Sheryl Crow. Get a little bit closer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, working out. In fact, I should go. YouTube isn't really like Twitch. Like on Twitch, people like actually work out for coins or whatever. But I should. I'm here for that. Yeah, I'm gonna start doing some.
You can earn stuff for.
Yeah, you like read a book.
It's a very slippery slope, though. Be careful. You start out lifting weights, and then before you know it,
I don't think there's any slippery slope with me.
You're earning coins.
Oh, that I'd be happy with. I thought you were gonna say like, and before you know it, you're like doing CrossFit. I was like, not a risk at all. Don't worry about that.
I thought like joining a cult or something like that.
Right.
Like start out reading books, and next thing you know, you're in a cult and you're live.
No, I was just making a joke about earning coins.
Sex work, maybe. Yeah. I got so serious. I know there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. And Anya wasn't saying that. It is funny. Like, well, whatever. I mean, yeah, I think that's
Katie.
Well, no, don't even say in this economy, because the point is there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, exactly. In every economy. In the most bountiful economy. Yeah. Should I get Bodhi? Should I grab Bodhi, guys?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Hold on. Just watch. You guys talk while I grab Bodhi. Hold on.
Where are you, Kelly? Are you in New York?
No, I'm quarantined elsewhere in another secret East Coast.
Very cool.
And
all on lockdown.
Yeah, and things are lifting a little bit, but I don't know
but
how.
It's like, do you really want to?
No.
Even if you're allowed to, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have porches and stuff. You can walk outside, so.
Well, that's all you need. That's all you need. Hi, Bodhi. So cute.
Okay, here comes
Bodhi. Say hi.
Aww.
Here comes Bodhi class. Here.
Wait, did Bodhi get grown yesterday?
No.
Oh, you put a necklace on her.
Oh no, it's not her necklace. It's her harness. She's rejects the binary, but it is
Bodhi.
How cute is she?
Have you ever really asked?
Listen. Hold on, listen. Ready? What are you growling about?
I brought up a good point about was your point whether Bodhi, like Katie, truly knows how Bodhi?
Yeah, Bodhi, did you really ask Bodhi?
No, you're right. I didn't. Wait, listen to her snort. Sorry.
It. Therefore, Bodhi is it.
No, they.
Listen,
it.
Listen, wait, listen.
Is it?
Wait, listen to her snort. Hold on.
Oh no.
She's not here for your transphobic jokes. That's what she just said.
It wasn't. It was anti.
I know. You were a parent. You were giving her.
We're trying to be inclusive.
I didn't say that. She said that. She's the one who said it. Not me.
Bodhi, you're drunk.
Cute. She is the strongest personality, Doggy.
I thought you were about to just be like, she's the strongest person I know.
She is the strongest. My mom actually was talking to me. She's like, all the people in my life are incorrigible. You're incorrigible. Your dad's incorrigible. Bodhi's incorrigible. I'm like, people? She's like, okay, creatures.
Oh, cute.
Oh,
Cute.
look at her. She really is a designer dog, right? Like I couldn't design a cuter dog.
My dog, but she's gotten so big during quarantine.
Don't body shame her.
I don't know.
Okay.
Transphobia, body shaming.
No, I don't know.
Going too far.
And show her to the camera.
Look at how cute she is. Look, she's getting tired. I'll put her down. I'll put her down on the ground.
Don't put her down.
I put her on
She's
the
perfectly
ground.
healthy.
Oh my God. I don't even want to talk about it. There was someone who I can't even talk about. It gets me so upset. Someone who buried her dog with her.
What?
Yeah,
Wait,
she had it in her will. It was a healthy dog, and she, no. Hillary Clinton's alive and does not have a dog that I think of. She's not a Shih Tzu. She's a Lhasa.
You don't know either of
we
these
do.
things for absolute sure.
It's true, yeah. No, but how disgusting is that? The ASPCA tried to fight it, and a woman, I think her name was Emma, was the dog. I just want to kill the woman, but it doesn't work because she's already dead.
It's like
So
the
I
opposite
wanna-
of the Aristocats. Instead of
Yeah.
giving your whole life savings to your cat, you are like, well, if I die, my dog has to die with me.
I mean, it's so sick, and I would love to visit her family and put some plague on their houses and whatever. Anyway,
That is horrible, but
it's
also
not like she was going to be left alone to. I mean, it's
It's
so
also
awful.
sad that if she believes in whatever she believes in,
I guess you're right. Reincarnate. Yeah, I guess you're right.
but it's also wrong. I mean,
It's wrong. Let her live out her life, and then you can get distant. They can then dig up your grave and put her there with you when she passes.
dig people's graves up for no reason.
Well, put
mean,
that in
whatever.
your will. Put in a grave robber.
Yeah,
exception.
exactly.
If
Yeah,
you just really want your dead dog to be buried with you, might as well have done that for life.
I am not for killing the dog.
No, that's awful. Before my parents had a dog, I didn't really get obviously I thought it was wrong and bad and sad. No, I thought it was sad when people's pets died, but I would kind of be like, all right. What'd you say?
You're like, I thought it was bad when people's pets died.
No, I thought it was sad, but I
something
didn't
about it.
really get it. I didn't get how devastating it was.
No, it's like losing a child.
I didn't get it either until my first dog. Until I thought that people who had animal shirts and were just that were I love my cat or whatever were just nuts. And then I got my first dog when I was, I'm not going to age myself, but yeah.
When you were a young 75-year-old, yeah.
When I was 75 years old, and I had her for 13 and a half years, and I understood from the moment I got her, it was just, yeah. And now, and then I immediately got my dog who I have now, and so sweet.
Yeah. You got to keep rescuing them.
Fatty.
She's a rescue. Bodhi.
Poor Fatty. Can't keep up.
No, but okay. So I think this has been good, right?
Why
I
not
appreciate
get your pet stuff. This chat is going too far.
I know. I'm gonna end it on a positive note from Marco Soledado.
You should have Anya. You should have. It's gone way further.
No, we haven't had any taxidermy content. What did we have that was so inappropriate before?
Nothing.
No.
I thought our chat.
No, not our show. Not our episode. Yeah.
You talked about taxidermy. I couldn't.
No, I didn't. That's what I'm saying. It hasn't gone that far before.
Someone asked about whether or not we should get our pet stuffed just now.
No. Oh my god. No, that's not.
In memory. No, I don't want a pet. I don't want a taxidermy shame schmoopy. Schmoopy shaboopy. I don't want to do that. So yeah, I guess, honestly, whatever, there's nothing wrong. It creeps me out. But
it's weird.
But there's nothing wrong with that. It's not immoral. It's not anything pathological.
It might be pathological. If you're like, this is
Yeah.
my dog that died, but we stuffed him because we wanted him to be around forever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it creeps you out, that doesn't mean it.
That's what I'm
impacts
saying. Yeah.
his dog.
Right,
It
no.
was-
No, of
Okay.
course not. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Just don't murder the dog to get to that stage. That I will murder you for.
That's what we're against. We're against
That's what
murder.
we're against. Yeah, we're anti-murder.
Official Katie Halper.
Katie Halper show policy. Yeah. Yeah.
You're sponsored by the anti-murder lobby.
I should no. Here's real talk. I used to see people like when I see ads for the ASPCA, I'd be like, "What the fuck? There are
In the
people dying."
arms
Arms
of
of
the
an
angel.
angel. Oh my God, Sarah McLachlan. I love fumbling
She's
towards
like holding
ecstasy. But now I'm like, oh, I want to give a lot of money to them. Like it makes me so sad. But yeah, I love fumbling towards ecstasy. And is it
I
fumbling
like
or
Sarah
fumbling?
McLachlan.
Is it stumbling or fumbling? But I hate her version of "I Wish I Had a River." I hate Joni Mitchell's version of "I Wish I Had a River." So it just gets worse. It's so annoying. That song should never be sung again. Anyway. All right. This is great. This has been great. Make sure you smash that subscribe button.
Katie
right?
Halper.
Katie Halper, Kelly Carey, Anya Parampil. And we will see you. I'll see you next time. I'll be releasing videos. I'll be releasing this. I'll be releasing some interviews I did with Max Blumenthal, with the side hater. Yeah.
Fun.
And check out. Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for
Alrighty.
hosting me, Katie.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
Doris, and thank
everyone.
you, Kelly. Thank you,
Yeah, thanks, Doris.
viewers. Bye.
All right. Should end broadcast, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's yourself.
That's a good
We're
ending.
still
That's a good
live,
ending.
Katie.
I know. Yeah. All right.
You know how to do it and everything? Or,
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Cool.
All right,
Bye,
cool.
everyone.
Bye, guys. Bye, Katie. Thanks again.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.